Hello and welcome to another Jay's Politics podcast. Today I'm going to be discussing Daniel Pratt Reshaping Our World and his video titled Welcome to the USSW, the Soviet State of Washington. Most of you know how my videos go. I usually have my intro music and whatnot playing. I do my little blurb. I'm not going to do that today. Today is literally just going to be about me responding to this video and what I think is wrong with it. This video was put out 4 weeks ago by Daniel, and I haven't had a time to get around to it. So we shall go on from there. So as you can see his video, he's recording off of his phone. So for what it's worth.
Morning, folks. I was just going over the new communist right restrictions in the USSW here, the United Soviet State of Washington. So basically, you got to be 21 now to buy a semi-automatic rifle.
Okay. So first off, he is talking about Initiative 1639. It is an initiative here in Washington State that was passed by the people. I vehemently disagree with the initiative itself, much like Mr. Pratt here. However, this is not the this is not the part of the video that I want to discuss. However, it lays the fundamental groundwork for what I'm going to be discussing later. So I'm going to let him play through this, and I will comment as need be.
Instead of 18. And some bullshit initiative where if you don't keep your gun locked up in a safe or with a trigger and some felon or some kid gets a hold of it, then you can be held accountable. In other words, pulled in and threatened so you can, be used to testify against someone they want to really get.
Now, here is where Daniel has his first failing, and what I see as his first failing. And that is, he is arguing from the suspicion that the government is out to get you. The government is out to get everybody. That it is a conspiracy. That is not the purpose of what this initiative does. Yes, it raises the buying age of semi-automatic rifles from 18 to 21. He'll go over his complaints with that in a bit, and I'll respond to that as needed. However, what he's talking about is that if you do not secure your gun in a way compliant with this new initiative, and your gun is taken and used in a crime, you will be held liable with it. On basis alone, I would normally agree with this argument. However, the one caveat I would throw into this, and this is the biggest thing that I side with the initiative over him, is that if you do not report, that as soon as you are aware that your firearm is missing, you better be calling 911 to report that to the authorities. So that way they know and can be on the lookout for it in crime scenes. Because you never know what could happen. What if your child just being picked on by bullies and decides that they're going to go shoot up their school, whether it be a college or a high school, middle school. Heck, we even have stories in the past where elementary age kids were taking guns to school, trying to take guns to school. That this is where being a responsible gun owner is key. You have to be responsible with your firearms. As a matter of fact, my stepfather is very much a gun enthusiast, and for the longest time would have guns locked up in his gun cabinet, his gun display case, and when the grandchildren would come over, he'd make sure that it's locked, and any guns that were outside of that were put away in a spot where they could not get to them. Since the last few times that I've been over there, I've noticed the gun case is empty. I'm assuming that he has those out of the house because of the newest grandchild in the family. So, With that being said, I don't necessarily have a problem with this. And it's not that the cops are going to drag you in so you can testify against somebody else because, coercion. No, it's because you were not being responsible. That is what this initiative is about. That's what this law is supposed to be about.
The question I have is, do you really think any of these hypocrites that got this law passed are going to have any problem whatsoever sending your 18-year-old child to murder or die for their rights?
And I like how he's emphasizing the word rights there with very much a sarcastic tone because, hypocrites of these people. Now, I have an issue with them sending off men and women to go to war where they're handling basically the same weapons they are denied as a right, you know, under the Second Amendment. Now, I believe this law is going to be challenged by various groups. I haven't followed up on it enough to know if they have started their legal process or not, but I'm trying to keep an eye on that. However, that's not the point I'm trying to make here. The fact that he's making this out to be an us versus them shows that he does not care about the truth of the matter. He doesn't care about what the issue is, and he will go off on a tangent here in a minute.
While they restrict yours. Isn't it funny that Army reported an average enlistment age of just under 21? That means it's heavier on the side of people under 21.
I wonder why that is. Why would somebody join the military under the age of 21? I know. Because they want money for school. They want to be able to go get a college degree. Maybe they want to learn a trade. What better way than to do that with the Montgomery GI Bill or even the post 9/11 GI Bill? Maybe even a college fund. Maybe get a signing bonus, an enlistment bonus. Things like that. There are a variety of reasons why people join the military. Some of them are even patriotic. So, now, as one of those people that joined right out of high school, I joined for college. And I'm spending my benefits to go to school. I don't know Mr. Pratt's history, and I'm not going to suppose or assume what his history with the military is or not. What I'm going to go off of is what he's said and what I've seen of his past works and videos. And it tells me that he has very much a distrust for anything that goes over his head that he does not understand. So let's continue.
Entering the military. So, they have no problem 18-year-olds using semi-automatics to go kill brown people. You just can't be responsible enough to own one in your own community.
It's not so much that the argument here is not so much that they're not responsible enough. It's the fact that they're being supervised. The way people like Daniel spread this is, or try to propagandize this, is that these kids are being sent off to war apparently unsupervised and just told, go point your gun here and shoot. That's not at all what's going on in the military. The military trains their soldiers to try and retain their soldiers, to show them that they can make a career out of this. Now, not everybody wants to. Not everybody's capable of serving for a full term, for a full 20 years, 30 years of military service. That is entirely their choice or lack of choice in the case of medical separations, things like that. But I find it rather ironic that you can tell by the way he misspells things in his searches. You can tell by the way that he talks and the way he uses a sarcastic tone. I wonder if he wanted to join and was told no. Again, I'm not trying to assume here that this is what happened. I just question if it is what happened. Daniel, feel free to leave a comment below. I'm not trying to be a jerk about this. I'm literally just trying to understand what your issue is with the government, because that's all I read from your videos is how much you think conspiracy theory on everything.
And this is all because you live in the free United States of America. Land of the free, home of the brave, where you have all these constitutional rights, and your country would never sell you out or anything like that. No. So, these gun laws are, once again, brought to you.
Gotta love that first one in the center of his bar there, Flat Earth.
By the same government that did this. Remember, Washington State governor? Yeah, this goof.
Okay. So here's the crux of what I am going to talk about. This is the main thing that he brings up as his counter to this, is that the state of Washington is quote unquote communist because of the liberal leanings of the governor and the various people in our government. However, what he doesn't tell you is that the majority of the state Senate, the state legislature, is Republican. This law, this initiative, would not have passed through our legislature, I believe. That's why it went to an initiative, which is our right as citizens to have our voices heard. And if the legislature doesn't want to hear our voices as a community, then we take it to the ballot. It's that simple. But what he's trying to equate here is that what the governor did, Jay Inslee, in 2015, makes us communist.
Where'd he go? Anyways, was flying the Chinese flag at the Washington State Capitol. Is it any wonder?
Are you serious? Are you?
All right. I'm going to switch off of this video because I don't think I need any more of this video here. We're going to go over here. So, Mr. Pratt, I would like to invite you to Cornell Law School's Legal Information Institute, or LII. U.S. Code, which is the U.S. laws, Title IV, Flag and Seal, Seat of Government, and the States, Chapter 1. The flag. Now I'm going to take you down to subsection 7. Position and manner of display of the U.S. flag. Now, before we go reading on the definitions here, I'm also going to take you to the news article that the videos that he was going to show are talking about. Back in April of 2015, I was actually living in Colorado. The plan was to stay out there, but unfortunately, due to a death in the family, I had to move back. And at this point, I was working on trying to get out of Colorado back here. So this is why I had never heard of this issue until I saw his video. Tea parties protest the Chinese flag at Washington State. Now, I've watched the video here up to this point to show something. The arrangement of the flag. Now, the issue here is the center flag is the Chinese Communist flag. Why on earth would a state government fly another nation's flag at its Capitol building? Why? Can you think of any reason why they would want to do this? Any valid reason why they would want to do this? No? Can't think, maybe, I don't know. And this is from the Washington Post, and it's also talked about on other sites that are more right persuaded. So, the Washington State Capitol put up the Chinese flag last week in honor of Governor Jay Inslee's trade meeting. And I'm not even going to try and pronounce your name because I don't speak Chinese. The Chinese ambassador to the United States. This is, regardless of whether you are friends or enemies with somebody, there's certain things that we as humans try to do, and that is be respectful to each other. It's a wonderful thing when you actually have respect. Now, there are people out there that don't respect people because of different ideological beliefs, such as liberals and conservatives, such as religious, non-religious, heck, even religions on religion. But I find it the biggest contention where you don't see a lot of respect is in the community of flat earth. And it mainly comes from flat earthers who can't handle their position being attacked, cannot handle their position not just being attacked, but basically being dismissed. And the reason why is because scientific proof shows that the earth is not flat. Scientific evidence points to its oblate spheroid. But flat earthers, either from a lack of knowledge or from their own ignorance to not learn this information, or, and I'm not saying this is Mr. Pratt, there are others out there like this, they're just trying to get money from the gullible. But they don't respect people who try to tell them otherwise, that their belief is wrong. And when those people provide scientific fact, they will just brush it off. I see it all the time. And it has gotten to the point now where many globe believers, actual, people who follow the science of physics, math, quantum physics, even astronomy, geometry, things like that. People who understand these concepts have gotten frustrated, and basically because they've been talked down to, muted, and treated like utter garbage on flat earth channels, that they're now retaliating. Now, I'm not privy to most of these people's interactions with flat earthers, whether they've done videos or not. But to have somebody get upset that you commentate on their video, use a certain portion of it, and then throw up a DMCA claim, a copyright strike. Well, that in and of itself seems petty. It seems pathetic to me. And here's why. I have a feeling that once this gets out, Mr. Pratt will take issue with the fact that I'm talking about his video, that I used his video to start this with. But the reason why I'm doing this is because under Code 7, or under U.S. Code 4, subsection 7, and we go down here to paragraph G. When flags of two or more nations are displayed, they are to be flown from separate staffs of the same height. The flag should be of approximately equal size. International usage forbids the display of a flag of one nation above that of another nation in time of peace. Now, as far as I'm aware, the U.S. has not declared any war on China at all. The only loose definition of a war against China that I have any concern over is the ceasefire that is currently known as Korea. But even that, we have moved beyond that. So, we are at peace with China under the most common understanding of what at peace means. Therefore, as a trip, as a sign of respect to the Chinese ambassador in 2015, the state of Washington and Governor Inslee wanted to fly his country's flag. And you have conservative activists voicing their opinion. Should they have allowed for the flag to be brought down? No. Legally, there was no issue with the state of Washington flying the flag of another nation at the Capitol as a sign of respect. But no, it is one of those things that conservative people who don't understand the code of flags and international law, they don't understand that these things are done as a sign of respect. If we were at war, like a legitimate war with China, I would probably raise more of an issue with them flying the flag. And I probably would have raised more of an issue had I known this was happening. However, in the time from when this has happened and when I found out about it, in just 5 minutes of Google research, takes me to the U.S. Code. And having been the quartermaster on a U.S. Navy submarine, we're the ones in charge of the flags and pennants and everything on a submarine. I understand the flag codes. You know, what is known by most common people is the U.S. flag codes. Better than most people. And what those activists did, and I will have the link to the HuffPost article as well as a couple other articles that I'm not sharing here my screen with. I'm going to have those there so you can read both sides of this issue. I'm also going to link Mr. Pratt's video down below so you can actually watch it. Again, for the I-1639, I agree with them. I don't like the initiative. However, it passed by a majority vote in the state of Washington. If you live here in the state of Washington, Mr. Pratt, grow up and either find somebody that's going against this legally and voice your opinion with them and spread your voice on that, or learn to accept the law. Those are your options at this point. Second of all, I understand that this goes with your narrative of United Socialist or Soviet State of Washington. But this right here has nothing to do with that initiative at all. Period. End of story. If you want, I'll even link the Constitution of the State of Washington in my video for you to peruse, Mr. Pratt. But I have to say this. If you try to DMCA claim me, use the DMCA claims on me, I will fight back. I'm not doing this as harassment, but I have seen what you have done to other creators who use your videos in fair use and trying to educate people. This is not even my beef with the flat earth community. This is my beef with you trying to make a propaganda video out of this for your conspiracy theories. Learn your flag code. Learn how to use the internet to find pieces of information like the U.S. Code, to find out more to a side of a story than what you want it to be. Other videos of yours that I've perused talk about confirmation bias and Dunning-Kruger. Maybe you should stop. Think about your positions and what you believe and how you understand them and move forward from that. learn to, how do I want to put this? Learn to educate yourself on the topics that you're talking about. I don't know everything. I don't even claim to know everything about politics or gun use or even all of the codes of the U.S. flag code or the laws. But I know enough of them that when I see protesters burning the U.S. flag, yeah, as a veteran, that pisses me off. But I fought and defended for this nation their right to do that. I may disagree with it, but that is their choice to do it, and it's their right to do it. That's the beauty thing about having rights, is that where my rights begin doesn't mean that your rights end as a protester, and vice versa. That's why I'm going to be supporting other YouTubers in their fights against other things, not just Team Skeptic in this. I'm also going to be supporting as best as I can, trying to find help for another YouTuber about Patreon. So come on, Daniel, Mr. Pratt, as I'm trying to be as respectful as possible to you, pull your head out, stop and think for a minute, and know that fair use is covered under the copyright laws. That we as creators are allowed to take each other's work, use it, edit it, or make commentary on it, and justify it. You know, you were talking first about the initiative, and then you brought in communism. You brought up a point from nearly 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago, 3 3/4 years ago, to try and prove your point. And yet, when I sat here and looked at it and researched it, there was nothing wrong with what they did. All it was is that the state capitulated to the right for a change. But it wasn't the conservative right to have that taken down, if they understood respect at all. You know, so, Mr. Pratt, I'm asking you politely to remove your DMCA claim against Team Skeptic. And please note that I will not be bullied. You can comment, you can have your own people comment on this for all I care. I'm not going to delete them. I'm not going to block them. I'm not even going to care. The only time I will care is if there is actual call to violence, at which point I will report it. That simple. If you try to DMCA or use a DMCA claim against me, I will fight back. So, you have been warned. I'm, again, not trying to threaten you. I'm just letting you know that I'm aware of your tactics. I'm aware of what you have done to others. And I'm doing this as a review and a critique of your video. And I'm not going to let you push me around. And if you try it, you're not going to be dealing with just one person. So, have a good day. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you dislike it, give it a thumbs down. Please subscribe. And if you want to watch and follow the content that I create, please hit the bell icon so you can get notified. I'm putting together a poll, and I'll be putting that out on Twitter in a couple days. And hopefully you guys will be able to help me decide what way I should go. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. Enjoy the rest of your holiday. And though I'm recording this on New Year's Eve, it will be up on New Year's Day. Enjoy your 2019. Hopefully the best comes for all of us.